remember I used to watch these types of videos all the time to get some hope, to get some inspiration for when I would finally get to the point where I felt like myself again.
Watch out.
And we are here today. I have decently long hair again, and I'm feeling more and more like myself, which is the best feeling ever. So today's video, I wanted to make a video kind of like a timeline of growing out my hair. For anyone who's new here, hello, my name is Megs. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today's video, as I said, is going to be a timeline of when I grew my hair from bald to a bob, to basically where it is right now. To make a long story short, in April of 2019, I lost my hair to chemotherapy, and I didn't start growing my hair back until about mid-July 2019. It has now been 1 year and 7-ish months, a few haircuts and hair dye appointments later, and I finally have a bob and am back to my happy blonde self. I know that I used to love watching these videos. These were huge inspo for me. They kept me motivated and going. So whether you're growing your hair back from bald or from a pixie cut down to a bob, here's the timeline of my hair growth. Okay, so before I get started, I do want to say that it is a process. You have to be patient. Everyone's hair grows at different lengths. Of course, mine is just an example of what I personally went through, but one thing that I will suggest is take progress pictures. I know that when you look at yourself in the mirror, and because you see yourself every day, you don't really see the difference. Like, you might have been growing out your hair and it'll be growing, but to you it's not changing, it's not getting any longer. And so if you take progress pictures, even like month to month, you'll really see how much your hair is growing, and that's going to help you tremendously with just seeing the progress that you're making. Okay, so phase one of my hair growth was the bald. So I'm sitting to the side so I can put pictures up here, but it was basically me being bald, and that is July 2019. Now, it wasn't until about 2 months into growing my hair that I actually noticed substantial hair growth. In between there was kind of like fluffs. I used to call them chicken fluffs because it was just like basically toddler hair. Like, it was very like thin and fine hair, and you could still kind of see my scalp. And then it wasn't until 2 months where I felt like it was filling in. It was still pretty thin and weak hair, but at least it was filling in. At about 3 months is when I'd say I went into like the buzz cut phase, which like I just had a full head of hair. It was starting to get thicker, and at this point I really let my hair grow. I was still wearing wigs at the time because I wore wigs when I was growing out my hair, and so for me I just kind of like let it do its own thing. I didn't cut it yet, I didn't do anything to it, I just let it do its own thing, and I only kind of wore my hair around the house, so I just didn't really care to do much with it at that point. Once I started realizing that I was kind of ready to start wearing my hair out in public and ditching the wig for good, that's kind of when I started playing around with different hairstyles and figuring out how to style my hair. So huge thank you to my boyfriend Alex for doing that and teaching me how to style my hair, letting me use all his hair products and styling my hair the first few times, because I honestly did not know what I was doing. And so I kind of let it grow to the point where I was ready to finally get a haircut. And it was at about, I think, 6 months of growing it out where I decided that I wanted to ditch the wig because I really just wanted to maximize my hair growth, and I was honestly just sick and tired of wearing a wig all day. So at 6 months-ish, I decided to get my first haircut. This is also when I started noticing that my hair was growing back so much thicker. Like, I had pretty thin, fine hair before I lost it, and it was growing thick, it was voluminous, it was also growing really dark. I was like, I don't know whose hair this is, but this isn't my hair. And so this is when it was really kind of looked like a pixie. Like, it was no longer a buzz cut, it looked like an intentional pixie cut. So I did get it cut to kind of mimic that. So basically I went to a barber because I wanted someone that I knew how to work with short hair. So my recommendation is to find a stylist or a barber or whoever you're comfortable with who has experience on short hair, because they know how to work with it. And so basically for my first haircut, I got the hair around my ears trimmed because it was growing over top of my ears, and I got the back trimmed because I was starting to get a mullet. So basically when you're growing your hair out, your hair grows the same all over your head, right? So the hair on the top will grow the same time as the hair on the bottom. And so if you have hair like this on the bottom, well, you only have hair like this on the top. And so of course you're gonna start looking like you have a mullet. Now, nothing against mullets. There are definitely people out there who rock a gorgeous mullet. That person just wasn't me. And then because I was wanting to kind of rock the pixie cut look and I wanted it to look clean and put together, I got the barber to kind of fix the layers at the top and just make it all kind of flow together nicely. I think that also really really helped with my confidence in me stopping to wear the wig and just rocking the short hair, because I knew that I had like a nice hairstyle that like looked good. So that was definitely a huge confidence booster for me. And then I rocked this pixie cut for a few months. I actually came to love it. I thought I was gonna absolutely hate it, but it was cute. It definitely took me out of my comfort zone and made me kind of like learn how to do new things. It was cool, and I ended up like learning new styles and playing around with it and different products and stuff, and I actually really enjoyed it. I honestly felt like a badass with a pixie cut, because never in my life had I thought I would ever actually have a pixie cut. And so then at about like 8-ish months, that is when the whole world shut down and we all started working from home, which I would say that 2020 was definitely a blessing for growing out my hair, because I didn't have to see anybody. I didn't have to really make my hair look nice, and this really gave me the opportunity to let my hair just grow and to not style it, to not really have to wash it a lot, and this definitely helped with my hair growth process. So then the next phase, I call it the long pixie. So it's still a pixie, but it was like outgrown and the hair started having lots of texture. This is kind of when I would start playing around with it a lot, and I started kind of doing braids, half up ponytail looks, and then I decided to bleach it. So 10 months in May 2020 is when I decided to take the dive and get it bleached. Honestly, my natural hair was just growing back a lot darker than I was used to. I'm just happiest when I'm a blonde, and that is when I decided that it was the right time. It was summer and I was ready to do it. And honestly, it was a huge shock for me at first. I went from having pretty dark, dirty blonde hair to bleach blonde hair, and it was just such a huge shift, and it definitely took me a while to get used to it. I know at first I was like shocked by it, but then when I started playing around with it, having fun, I loved it. I loved that icy blonde color. And then at this point, it was long enough at the top to start doing like little braids and little fun ponytails. During that haircut, when I bleached my hair, I also once again got the mullet kind of in the back cut, but that was the only thing that she cut, just so that way, again, it wasn't look like a mullet. We were working towards a bob. I knew I was still far from a bob, but I was working towards a bob. The next phase of hair growth, I called it the half bob because it wasn't a bob and it wasn't a pixie. Like, it was just awkward. I would have to say this was probably one of the most awkward phases for me, because like, it was just, I couldn't like curl it. I couldn't really straighten it. I kind of just had to like let it be. And I know that in this phase particularly, I wore half up hairstyles all the time, because to me, if I hid my top layer, which was my shortest layer, which was like the most awkward layer I had, then it kind of looked like I had longer hair. Even if it was up to here, like it still looked like it was more so one length. Basically, the next hairstyle that I was working towards was this, like being able to still have some sort of like dimension and texture in my hair and have a bob. And so I grew my hair out, and then Winnipeg went into lockdown, so lockdown helped me grow my hair out. I had no choice but to just kind of let my roots go and let my hair grow as much as it could. I really made sure to emphasize like doing all of my different steps to grow my hair out, to keep it super healthy, so that way when I could get my hair fixed, I would be able to get the hairstyle that I wanted. This is also when I realized that I could do braids and ponytails eventually. That was a huge milestone for me. So at first I couldn't do ponytails because the bottom layers were still way too short, and there was no way that I could get all of my hair in the same ponytail. So I started off by doing Dutch braids. So Dutch braids are easier to do than French braids because Dutch braids go under, so they take less hair, versus French braids need more hair to braid over. So first I started doing Dutch braids. I wore Dutch braids every day after I realized I could do them. Then I moved on to French braids when my hair got a little bit longer, and then finally ponytails. And my boyfriend will tell you, when I realized I could do a ponytail with like the majority of my hair in a ponytail, I wore a ponytail every single day. I was just that happy and that excited to finally be able to have a ponytail. I don't know. It was so like, so silly thinking, but it's so funny. So I wore a ponytail literally every single day. And then that basically brings me here. So it is now February 2020, about a year and 7-ish months of growing my hair out. I've had a total of like 4 trims, I think by now, I would say, and it's just mostly been the bottom. This is my shortest layer. Oh, I guess it's shorter on this side. This is my shortest layer right now, so it's growing out. It's like kind of just almost at my chin, and so here we are. I finally have a bob. So my last haircut, I basically got my whole bottom layer taken off, and so now I really only have 2 layers. It's a bob, and then for my hair, I just have highlights at the top, and then it blends into the blonde that I already had previously, and it just gives my hair some dimension, and that way I can kind of keep growing my natural hair out and keep getting highlights retouched, so I don't have to do a full bleach every time I want to get my hair fixed. I am so happy and thankful that I finally have this hair. When I say that I literally dreamed of the day that I'd have a bob. When I lost my hair, it was obviously very hard, and I am here. I am so happy and thankful, and that is exactly why I wanted to make this video, because I literally would sit on YouTube for hours watching girls grow their hair out from a pixie to a bob and just see their timeline and just like picture myself and be like, okay, like this is what I'm gonna look like, and then this and this and this, and I would like picture my future hairstyles and what I wanted to do. And so I know that that can really help with your sense of motivation, with just like hope and faith, and just being able to know that that's coming for you and that you have something to look forward to. So whatever phase of hair growth you are at, whether you have a pixie and you're growing it out to a bob, or whether you are just starting fresh, starting clean and growing your hair out completely, just know that it is definitely a process and it is different for everybody. Again, if you'd like any tips on what I used, then check out the videos that are linked down in the description box below. But take progress pictures. I wish I took more. I took a lot, as you can see by all the pictures I've put up here, but I honestly wish I took more, because the more pictures that you take, the more you'll see just how much progress you are making, even if it doesn't feel like it. So definitely take a lot of pictures, take good care of your hair, be patient, be healthy, and then your hair will just grow. But that is all for today's video. So thank you so much for your continued love and support. Know yourself, know your body, and until next time.